There's a curriculum called Strengthening Families, and in the curriculum we talk specifically about 5 protective factors that are really important for each family if they want to be strong, grow, provide a good atmosphere and environment for their child. So the 5 protective factors are social connections, social emotional competence of children, parental resilience, concrete supports, and knowledge of parenting and child development. The people on this earth are meant to work together, to live together, to be together, to talk together. And actually, many people say the village is there to raise our children, but the village is also there to build strong families. When we talk about social connectedness, we're talking about who do you go to when you have an issue. So when we look at families that have social connectedness and you ask them the question, who would you call if, they have someone to call. If we're working with families that don't have social connectedness, we say, who would you call? And they say, I don't have anybody to call. All families go through times of trial and tribulation. All families have stress, and it's really important that families develop a picture of who they can call. In one of my classes that I teach, I talk about drawing a picture, a map, of who would you call if X happened? Who would you call if Y happens? I think it's really important for families to think ahead on what they need to know about social connectedness and who to go to. Following immediately on social connectedness, then we would go to concrete supports. So concrete supports, people get them confused sometimes, but concrete supports are really, what do you need? Food, clothing, shelter. For families that have less money, fewer skills, no transportation, it's more difficult. One of the places that we have built in Shasta County that's really important is 211. So you dial 211 and you can say, I need a jacket for my kid. Or you can say, I live on this road, but I don't know what school to take my kid to. Or you can say, I need childcare. This is a way to help families build concrete supports. It would include things like communication skills, learning patience, learning self-control and self-regulation, learning how to play with other children. All those things are really important for young kids, but I also want to say they're really important for all kids and for the families of all kids. So when we talk about protective factors, we're also talking about teenagers. Teenagers having to live in families that have those same protective factors. Don't want people to get confused and think this only applies to the very little ones. Sometimes it's very difficult for parents to evolve that social emotional competence in their children when they do not have it themselves. What we're talking about is, how do parents respond to the things that happen to them, and indeed the things that happen to their children? Different communities and different families have learned different ways to respond to different things. Obviously, if there's a huge trauma in the community, we could talk about COVID-19, we could talk about fires. Many people are challenged by what has happened and challenged by how to deal with it, and challenged how to deal with their children following that. If parents exhibit resilience and have resilience themselves, the logical transmission goes to the child. The child learns. The final protective factor would be knowledge of parenting and knowledge of child development. Parents really have to have a realistic idea of what their kids' skills are at various levels. We would call that child development. We need parents to be clear about what to expect from a child. When are they going to walk, talk? When can we expect them to respond to us in a realistic way? When does a child's brain start figuring out things like, if I'm good today, I can go to the zoo on Saturday? When does that happen? It doesn't happen when you're tiny. I've worked with parents who said, oh, look, my child's going to be able to walk because the child is kicking in their crib. That is not getting ready. It's getting ready to walk, but it doesn't mean you're going to get out of the crib tomorrow and go walking. One of the places that people can get more information is from Triple P Parenting. And Triple P Parenting, there are many places you can get that, especially for 0 to 5-year-olds, at almost no cost. And they can talk to you about discipline, what to expect from your child as far as discipline, what to expect from your child as far as communication, what kinds of examples you can set yourself, modeling those behaviors for your kids. All those kinds of things are available for people to look at. Thank you so much for watching today and listening to this presentation about the protective factors and how to build a strong family.